Back home, after the Swiss Grand Prix, Staf and Marie had a difficult conversation about his adventures in Formula 1. Marie understood that it was passion that had driven him to ride with Johnny Claes in the first place. But now, having witnessed the danger firsthand, she wished that Staf would stop. Staf replied calmly. He understood her fear, truly, but he wanted to see out the season. After that, he would decide his future, depending on whether a contract offer came from Johnny or another team. Marie argued that Sebastiaan needed his father, and that she would not survive the loss if Staf were to die on the circuit. Staf listened in silence, then he pulled her close. If she truly wanted him to stop, he would. But after a long pause, Marie admitted that she had seen how happy racing made him, and that his happiness mattered too. Staf nodded. The matter was settled for now. The next race was Spa-Francorchamps, the Belgian Grand Prix, Staf's home race. Once again, Marie stood by his side, watching as his rivals pressed his tenacity after the Swiss Grand Prix. When it was time for free practice, Staf climbed into the car. He remembered his first laps here in the Talbot Lago, how the car had lacked speed, how it had overheated after just 2 laps. Now, with his own modifications, he hoped the machine would finally last the distance. I will now take you to the free practice results. Here you have the first part. Juan Manuel Fangio takes the first spot in free practice with a 4:09.256. Then our hero Staf Vermeulen in second place in the free practice session, and Nino Farina closes off the top 3. Then we have Fagioli, Villoresi, Sanesi, Serafini, Ascari, Rosier, Chiron, Whitehead, Parnell, Mira and Cabantou. Now you can see the second part, spearheaded by Bonetto, then Gerard, Manzon, Sommer, Étancelin, Pozzi, Chabot, Harrison, De Graffenried, Levesque, Pagani, Crossley, Hampshire and Roll. And here's the final part. We have Branca, Schell, Trintignant and Franco Comotti in last place in the free practice session. We are now in the qualifying session and Staf is ready to go out in the pits. He is excited to finally drive in front of his home crowd in his home Grand Prix at Spa-Francorchamps, the place where he tested for Johnny Claes and the Équipe Nationale Belge team, and hope he can make them proud with a stunning lap. Here we are at the end of the first flying lap. Staf notices that his engine is overheating once again. He has made modifications. He just hopes that the engine will last coming race day. Here we have Staf going into La Source. He brakes hard. Second gear. Maneuvers it quite well and thunders to the start finish straight, and his time will be a 4:07.190, provisional pole position for Staf. Here we have Staf at La Source again. He has done a cool down lap and he's ready for the second flying lap of his session. I am going to show you this entire lap. It is a long lap, 4 minutes at least. And it starts it now, and he thunders. He goes to the Eau Rouge Rédillon complex, maneuvers it quite easily, and he thunders through the idyllic landscape of the Ardennes forest. Will he get the pole position just like he did in Indianapolis? Will he finish the race just like he did finally after many retirements in the Swiss Grand Prix, the previous race? We know that Marie is watching him and she hopes he will get a good result too. Staf is really eager to please the home crowd. You don't see a lot of Belgian drivers doing this. Anyway, I'll let you enjoy the full lap of the Belgian Grand Prix at Spa-Francorchamps, and you will see what Staf sees in this onboard footage. Here Staf has to lift a little so that he doesn't spin out and take the corner quite well, and then it's back on the throttle, passing the houses. One small mistake could prove fatal for driver and inhabitants.
You're down at the first sector.
Staf appears to be down in the first sector. He has lost a second. Will he improve on his provisional pole time, which is a stunning lap time for the aging Talbot Lago? The heat in the engine is rising. If you can see on the gauge on your left, that's the temperature gauge. It is rising and it is rising. Staf knows that he will have to manage the heat come race day. But will he succeed? That is the question. Another house on the right. And Staf notices that the heat is coming to the engine massively. He just hopes that the engine will last until the end of this lap, or else the qualifying session will be disastrous for him. He's still going at a steady pace. He's still down after the second sector, but he's gained time compared to the first sector. He's gained somewhat of a second. Staf still in pole position for the moment. He will navigate Blanchimont, and that will go up to La Source corner, the hairpin. That is the heaviest braking zone in this track. Actually, it's the only braking zone on this track. No, that is not right. There's still one braking zone on the track. Here he is in La Source, brakes heavily. Takes the corner at 70 kilometers an hour and now races to the start finish straight, hoping that he will improve on his lap time. Will he improve on his lap time? Will he? Yes, he does. It's a 4:05.471. Well done, Staf. Will it be pole position? We will see. After a scintillating qualifying, it is Jeff Crossley who takes surprise pole position in 3 minutes 52.240. Then Louis Rosier in his Talbot Darracq takes second position, around 8 to 9 seconds behind. Then Manzon in third position. Eugène Chabot takes the fourth spot on the grid. Pierre Levesque takes fifth, and our hero Staf Vermeulen lines up in sixth in his home Grand Prix. Bonetto is seventh, Sommer 8th, Fangio in his Alfa Romeo is 9th, Fagioli, his teammate, 10th, Farina, a contender for the title, is lining up 11th. Then we have Consalvo Sanesi in 12th position. Whitehead is P13, Villoresi P14, Serafini is 15th, Étancelin is 16th, Cabantou 17th, Pozzi is P18, Herichel lines up in 19th position, Harrison in 20th, Trintignant 21st, Bira is 22nd, David Hampshire takes P23, Greg Parnell takes 24th, De Gravenriet lines up in 25th position, Nello Pagani is P26, Chiron P27, Roll P28, Franco Comotti is P29, Ascari a long way off in 30th position, Branca in 31st, and Bob Gerard is last but not least. And here we are at the start of the Belgian Grand Prix of 1950. The engines are revving high and they are off. Staf already gets collected, but he is off. He didn't have the best of starts in the Grand Prix, his home Grand Prix. Will he get a good result for the Écurie Nationale Belge? It's also the team's home Grand Prix. There's already chaos behind Staf, but he gets away well. He is in P6. He has taken P6. He's keeping P6 actually. He started in P6. And he loses P7 to Sommer and then to Fagioli P8. That is not the start Staf wanted. He wants a good result. He wants points for the Grand Prix. He wants to make his home crowd proud. Then Fagioli Fangio overtake him. Staf is P10. This is not the start he wanted. And then he has Sanesi behind him that overtakes him, and Farina in the Alfa Romeo as well. Those Alfa Romeos are really something. And then Staf hits Robert Manzon. Manzon has to retire because of this. We will see a replay shortly of that. We'll see and then he clips Raymond Sommer. Staf clipped Raymond Sommer. We couldn't really see it because of the leaves of the trees. Will he keep going? There is a bit of damage, but I think he can keep going. Staf has the heart of a lion and wants to continue. He has to continue for his home crowd. Of course, he knows there are faster cars behind him. The Alfa Romeos and the Maseratis and the Ferraris are all faster than his Talbot Lago that he has, but he knows he can pull it off. He has to take into account the overheating engine. Now he's going all alone. He's a lone wolf for the moment, but he seems to be catching the cars ahead. He seems to be catching the cars ahead. He's catching Chabot. Will he be able to overtake him? No. He lifts off a little. He wants to play it safe. He doesn't want to crash again. And now he takes the opportunity and overtakes Eugène Chabot. Now we have Pierre Levesque in front of Staf. Will Staf take him as well? Yes, without issue. The Talbot Lago, the modifications that he has made to that Talbot Lago are coming in clutch. Now the right-hander, he has Louis Rosier in front of him. Will he be able to take P7 from Louis Rosier? He has already taken a big gap to Pierre Levesque. He has made a big gap already. 2.5 seconds, but he's catching Louis Rosier around the outside. Staf Vermeulen takes P7 from Louis Rosier on the outside. They are now going up to the Blanchimont sections. Will he be able to catch these Alfa Romeos? Look at them in front. All of those Alfa Romeos, and I think there's a Ferrari in there as well with Whitehead, if I recall correctly, if I can see correctly. They are he is closing in. Staf Vermeulen is putting the pedal to the metal, but it's an uphill section. The Talbot Lago isn't really going strong here, losing speed. Look at them. Look at them. Remember, Staf has made modifications for the overheating issue, but he knows that the engine will still overheat. He has taken into account that to make the race last, to make the car last the entire race. He doesn't seem to be closing in onto Nino Farina, but Staf will give it his all as they come up to La Source corner, the heaviest braking zone of the track. Staf downshifts into second gear, takes the corner well enough, I think, but he loses traction, he loses time on the exit of the corner. Will he be able to get points? And now I'll take you to the onboard of what Staf sees. Here we have him at the Eau Rouge Réunion complex, going through that famous hill. He has somewhat of a car. He knows that he has some top speed in order to catch the guys in front of him. And as promised, here we have a replay footage of Manzon retiring after his collision with Staf Vermeulen. Manzon almost gets collected by numerous cars. It seems that he cannot get his engine going again. His engine has stalled and that will force him to retire. He cannot get the engine going again. I am glad he is okay though. Here we are following Eugène Chabot. He is making a mistake, clips the hill, jumps over it, rolls over, and here we see the number 2 car making a mistake too. Chabot has to retire. Here we are still on lap 2. Staf is putting the pedal to the metal, and it seems that with his modifications, the gearing and such, he seems to be catching the Alfa Romeo of Gonçalves Sanesi. He is gaining quickly. Very quickly. He can see them in front of him. Staf is really going at it. He hopes that he can catch them and get into the points. Staf has caught up with the leading pack. He is within half a second of Gonçalves Sanesi, but he looks at his temperature gauge and he notices that the engine is already overheating and has to lift off the throttle, and that means that the leading pack will get away from him. Unfortunately, the leading pack is getting away from him. Gonçalves Sanesi has gained a whole second because of this. Staf is losing a lot of speed, a lot of time, and Serafini will be able to catch him probably because of this lack of speed. This is the end of lap 2. Staf Vermeulen will cross the start-finish line in 7th position. Ahead of him is Gonçalves Sanesi, around 4 seconds ahead. Here we have a nice flyby of Staf Vermeulen in the Belgian Grand Prix of 1950. This is a shot of lap 3. We can see that Staf is still chasing the leading pack of Alfa Romeos and Ferrari, and that Serafini is right behind him. While they are still at the Blanchimont section, Jeff Crossley crosses the finish line and he sets the current fastest lap of the race. What a man on a mission. Still on lap 3, Staf sees Peter Whitehead ahead of him, making a mistake. Whitehead has made a mistake. Staf is P6. And here we have the replay of Whitehead battling it out. He loses control. We don't see a lot, but here he spins, hits another car. He tries to get going and he gets going, but slowly, and Staf can overtake him because of this, and Whitehead loses another position because of it, but luckily he can keep going. At the end of lap 3, the beginning of lap 4, Staf gets another horrendous exit out of La Source hairpin, and Serafini is half a second behind him, closing in rapidly. Staf sees Serafini in his mirrors. Up Eau Rouge through Rédillon. Will Serafini overtake Staf? Serafini is closing in rapidly, more rapidly than Staf would have hoped. The Talbot Lago is really slow. Serafini is alongside Staf. And they go to the left-hand kink. Serafini around the outside, but loses it, and he has to retire because of it. Here we have a replay of Maurice Trintignant getting led by Jeff Crossley in the number 26 car. Trintignant loses control, clips the hill onto the rail tracks and stalls the engine. He cannot keep going anymore. Maurice Trintignant is forced to retire, unfortunately. On lap 4, Staf looks at his gauge and sees that the engine is overheating once again. Once again, he has to lift off the throttle in order to keep the engine going for the remainder of the race. Later on lap 4, Staf has a lapse of focus and goes off-roading at the Blanchimont section. Luckily, he can continue. Here we have Pierre Levesque trying to overtake the number 6 car. Will he do it? Yes, but he seems to lose control all of his own. He rolls the car in a massive crash. What a massive crash this is. He lands on his four wheels. It seems that the driver is okay. Awesome. We are now on lap 5, still following Staf. Staf has again a momentary lapse of focus and goes into the ditch, but he manages to keep the car on the road after that. What a scary moment for Staf and the home crowd. Later in lap 5 we can see that Peter Whitehead is now on your screen, catching Vermeulen rapidly. And if that wasn't evidence enough, here we see Whitehead on lap 6 catching Vermeulen rapidly. At the end of lap 6 we see that Whitehead is less than 3 seconds behind. As they go through the left-hander, we can see that Whitehead is closer than ever. Will Staf Vermeulen be able to defend his position successfully? On lap 7, the battle for P6 begins. Whitehead is close to Vermeulen. He is alongside Vermeulen, but Vermeulen seems to be pulling ahead. Vermeulen wants to defend his P6 position. Will he be able to defend it until the end of the race? Staf had hoped for more, but the race is still a long ways off the finish. Still on lap 7 we see that Whitehead is very close to Vermeulen, just 2 tenths behind. Whitehead tries to make a move around the outside, but it doesn't work. They come up to the La Source hairpin. Staf brakes heavily. Will Whitehead make his move? It seems so. Staf goes deep and Whitehead is ahead of Staf Vermeulen at the end of lap 7. Will Staf be able to get his position back? We don't know. We will have to wait and see. On lap 8, Staf is again pedal to the metal and it seems like he is catching Whitehead rapidly. He might be able to overtake him for P6 again. He is less than a second behind Whitehead. As Staf is catching Whitehead, Whitehead makes a mistake and Staf manages to overtake the Briton once again. Staf has taken P6. Another overheating warning from the engine of the Talbot Lager will allow Peter Whitehead to catch Staf Vermeulen. The Belgian driver has to lift off the throttle once again. Whitehead has closed the gap to Staf Vermeulen once again. Whitehead will definitely try once again to take P6 from the Belgian driver in his Talbot Lago. Later on we can see that they are side by side at the Blanchimont section. Whitehead almost goes off the track to overtake Vermeulen. They are still side by side. No, Whitehead is slightly behind Vermeulen. They are coming up to the final corner of the track, the La Source hairpin. Will Vermeulen defend? Yes, he goes defensive. Will he be able to keep the position? Whitehead will try to go out around the outside of Vermeulen. Does he manage to do it? Vermeulen doesn't get the best of exits and Whitehead is ahead once again. What a battle this is, ladies and gentlemen. We are following Louis Rosier, who loses control or seems to keep it. No, he loses control. He keeps losing control. He is being lapped by Jeff Crossley. He loses control completely, crashes, stalls the engine and has to retire. Still on lap 9 on the downhill, left-hander, right-hander, we see that Whitehead makes another mistake, allowing Vermeulen to take P6 once again. At the end of lap 9 we see in the mirrors that Whitehead is still closing in on Staf. Staf goes defensive, brakes hard, shifts down, loses control a little bit, slides the car but manages to keep it. But will he have the exit towards the start-finish line? Whitehead is closing in, and they are alongside at Eau Rouge. No, Whitehead backs out. We can see him in the mirrors. A little later, the battle between Vermeulen and Whitehead continues as they go through the left-hander after the Eau Rouge Rédillon complex. Whitehead is close, less than 3 tenths behind. We can see in the mirrors that Whitehead has crashed. That will allow Vermeulen to go further and pull out a gap Can he manage to keep that gap? Here we are following Jeff Crossley, the man on a mission who has lapped some cars, but it seems that he is in trouble because the lap cars overtake him. Crossley loses control, goes into the hill. He manages to keep the engine going. He will try to get back onto the tarmac, reverse and all that, but he seems to be confused and goes up the hill, stalls the engine, and this time the man on the mission has to retire, unfortunately. Because of the retirement of Jeff Crossley, it is now Luigi Fagioli, the Alfa Romeo driver that has taken the lead of the 1950 Belgian Grand Prix. Will he relinquish that lead or will he keep going until the end? We are on lap 13. Staf has taken P5 because of the retirement of Jeff Crossley. He is going strong and... Wait, what is this? There is smoke coming from Staf's car. What's happened? His engine has let go. This means that he will retire from his home Grand Prix. Oh no, he is so disappointed. The crowd cannot believe it. Staf's engine has let go. Reliability issues have taken his dream of scoring points at his home Grand Prix. Unlucky lap number 13. Here we have Charles Pozzi just losing control. The rear axle must have locked. This means that Pozzi also retires from the 1950 Belgian Grand Prix. Here we have the race leader, Luigi Fagioli, on the final lap. He will round La Source corner for the final time and he will win the 1950 Belgian Grand Prix. The checkered flag is out. Fagioli crosses the finish line and takes P1, his first win in Formula 1. Moments later we have Juan Manuel Fangio crossing the line in P2. Fangio gets his first points of the season. And then we have the other title contender, Nino Farina, crossing the line in third position, getting him another points finish. As we are now following the winner, Luigi Fagioli. Here are the race results for the 1950 Belgian Grand Prix. Luigi Fagioli takes his first win in his career and his first win of the season. Then Fangio in second. Then we have Farina on the final spot of the podium. Then in fourth place we have Consalvo Sanesi getting another points finish after his strong podium finish in the Swiss Grand Prix. Then we have Whitehead in the final points paying position. After that we have Villoresi, Pagani, Bonetto, Hampshire, Bira, Parnell, Étancelin, Sommer, Branca, Pozzi, Gerard, Vermeulen. Crossley, the man on the mission, takes the fastest lap. Rosier, Levesque, Serafini, Trintignant, Chabot, Harrison, Monzon, De Graffenried, Comotti, Roll, Cabantou, Ascari, Schell and Chiron. These are the standings after the Belgian Grand Prix. Bira is still leading with 16 points with his 2 wins. In second place we have Farina closing the gap to 1 point with 15 points. Then Vermeulen somehow still third with 9 points. Then we have Sanesi also with 9 points. After that we have Gerard, Chiron, Fagioli, De Graffenried, Pozzi, Roll, Fangio, Johnson, Comotti, Hampshire, Harrison, Whitehead, Schell and Crossley is the final points scoring man. Staf could hardly believe it. Another DNF, this time at his home Grand Prix. For 13 laps, everything had gone well. He had been locked in a fierce battle with Ferrari's Peter Whitehead, pushing hard while carefully managing the engine, his eyes constantly flicking to the temperature gauge. But the long straights through the Ardennes forest proved too much for the aging Talbot Lego T26C. The relentless full throttle began to take its toll. The engine overheated and then it failed. Flames erupted from the back of the car. Through no fault of his own, Staf was forced to retire from his home Grand Prix. The home crowd had hoped for more. Back in the paddock, Marie waited for Staf to pass by again. But lap after lap, he never came. Her worry grew until, eventually, Staf was brought back to the garage. The moment he stepped out, he pulled her into a tight embrace and told her he loved her. He explained what had happened. Even Johnny Klaas looked devastated. He too had hoped for a strong result. After the Grand Prix, the couple returned home to their son. They spent the rest of the day playing with young Sebastiaan, sharing quiet moments and comforting each other. But Marie knew the season was not over yet. She asked Staf when the next Grand Prix would be. "The French Grand Prix," he replied. "In 2 weeks' time."